Well, joining me now to talk more about the case is NewsNation contributor and host of the syndicated true crime series iCrime, Elizabeth Vargas. Thank you for joining us. So we'll get quickly to what I believe is the million-dollar question. Why do you think Brooks decided to represent himself?
He thought he could, Kelly. There are a lot of defendants who think they can. Most are persuaded not to by attorneys who know better. In this case, he fired his public defenders. He changed his plea from not guilty by reason of insanity to just plain not guilty. And he's now making a mockery of the trial and the courtroom. And by the way, Kelly, it's worth noting, all that behavior that we just saw in your reporter's package and in your setup, that how he's treating and speaking to the judge. This is almost all happening in front of the jury. Juries are usually really, really respectful of the judge. This can't be going over well with the jurors.
So you know this, Darrell Brooks, he's facing 76 charges. 6 of those are intentional homicide charges. If convicted, he will most likely appeal. Do you think his courtroom antics are an attempt to frustrate a judge into a misstep that would help his case at that level?
Listen, I'm not inside his head. I don't know anybody else who is inside his head. He has no legal training. He's probably thinking all I have to do is convince one of those jurors not to convict me. His opening statement was really, really interesting at the end of last week, where he began to cry. He was very emotional. And by the way, he was crying and very emotional over the parts of the opening statement that had to do with him. He wasn't crying over the 6 people who were killed in the parade. He was crying over him and his family going through such trauma as a result of this. The judge has to walk a really fine line. Defendants are allowed to represent themselves legally. She doesn't want to call a mistrial. This can't go completely off the rails, even though many argue watching this, it may already have done so. And we'll see what happens today. I mean, my gosh, and he provided no roadmap for a defense. He never explained. He never even said it wasn't me driving the red SUV that day. It was somebody else. We're not really sure what his defense is. I'm not sure he's really sure what his defense is, which is in and of itself an issue.
It certainly is. Well, several high-profile criminals have represented themselves. You know this, Ted Bundy, who was, of course, convicted. So what advantage does Brooke have? Do you believe he has an advantage representing himself?
Not the way he's doing so. Absolutely not. There's no advantage. I mean, this is a train wreck of a trial. It's ridiculous. He's provided no coherent defense at all. He hasn't even said it wasn't me driving the SUV, or I don't remember driving the SUV, and nothing. He's provided nothing. Even the examination of the witnesses he himself has called to the stand hasn't made a lot of sense, because one of those witnesses said, "Yeah, I saw you behind the wheel." So it's really unclear what he's doing. He has no legal training. Ted Bundy was a really smart guy, and he still represented himself, and he still was found guilty. This is a very risky move for any defendant to make, even defendants with legal training of their own. They'd have to prepare for a case from inside a jail cell. We heard him actually say in the court, "I can't get anybody to return my collect phone calls from the payphone inside the prison or the jail." So it's exceptionally difficult to prepare a defense and launch it on your own when you are in custody charged with these serious crimes. It's nearly impossible when you have no legal training. And this guy is clearly set on making a scene. He's got some emotional issues, clearly. That doesn't mean you can't be found guilty, however, of these very serious crimes.
No, certainly not. You've been studying this case. Great insight as always, Elizabeth. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.